FC Barcelona has just moved its pieces and changed Flick's plan. A renovation that reorganizes the defense, a registration block, and a number 9 who doesn't think about giving up his throne. In 15 seconds, you see who gains and who loses minutes. And I show you the only reason why Barg could leave right now, because fair play doesn't forgive, and the decision is made this week. And if City breaks its piggy bank for Fermin, you betray the plan or you save the accounts. Let's go. FC Barcelona has struck a major blow that left its own and outsiders speechless. A decision no one saw coming and which confirms that the project led by Hansi Flick is filled with surprises, unexpected twists, and plans that defy all predictions. What seemed like a quiet transfer window has turned into a real puzzle where each piece fits in a different way than imagined. And most surprisingly, all this is happening at a time when the club is under the world spotlight due to its delicate financial situation and the urgent need to restore competitiveness to a team that wants to become dominant in Europe again. To understand the magnitude of what happened, we must go back to the story of a player who embodies, like few others, the spirit of La Masia, Eric Garcia. His case is a clear example of perseverance, patience, and faith in oneself. Eric is not a media recruitment or a player with millions of followers on social media, but his story carries a message that resonates with the fans, that of a footballer who never stopped believing in his dream of triumphing at Barça. Eric began his training at La Masia, wearing the captain's armband at a very young age. His natural leadership, combined with an extraordinary tactical understanding, made him a reference in the youth categories. However, he made a decision that was controversial at the time, leaving for Manchester City to continue growing. There, he learned under Pep Guardiola, perfecting concepts like ball possession, high pressing, and defensive versatility. After a few years in England, he decided to return to Barça, convinced that his place was at the club of his life. This return was not easy. Doubts accompanied him from the start. Would he be able to compete with the elite? Wasn't it too risky to bet on him at a time of maximum demand? The fans were divided, but Eric kept his cool. His stint at Girona, on loan last season, was key. There, he found confidence, minutes, and continuity. And what many thought was just an intermediate step turned into the springboard he needed. Now, under Flick's direction, Eric Garcia has made an impressive qualitative leap. In his Liga debut against Mallorca, the coach surprised everyone by placing him ahead of Jules Koundé. It was a clear message: Eric has earned his place. It's no coincidence. Flick appreciates his ability to read the game, his composure in pressure situations, and, above all, his willingness to adapt to different roles. He can play as a central defender, fullback, or even in a back three, making him a very valuable resource. Inigo Martinez's departure to Saudi football definitively opened the doors for Eric. With Ronald Araujo and Pau Cubarsí as the starting duo in central defense, Eric has become the first alternative, but he doesn't settle for that. He fights for a starting spot, convinced he can establish himself as a starter. This self-confidence, combined with the faith Flick has in him, has completely changed his destiny. The management, led by Deco, is convinced Eric Garcia is part of the club's future. That's why talks to renew his contract until 2030 have been accelerated. An operation that doesn't generate the complications of other cases, as his salary is manageable and his willingness to continue is total. In a transfer window marked by tensions and astronomical figures, securing the continuity of a committed, homegrown player with room for improvement is a strategic move. The renovation is not just a formality, it's also a message to the outside. Barça wants to build on solid pillars, combining the youth of talents like Cubarsí and Fermin Lopez with players who represent the club's identity. Additionally, the Spanish national team is knocking on his door again. Luis de la Fuente is closely following his progress, and it wouldn't be strange to see him called up again after a long time. His last major appearance was at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar with Luis Enrique, but his current level is bringing him back to the national team. However, not all stories in the dressing room are as promising. The case of Ronnie Bardi is a real headache that perfectly reflects the tension between sport and finance. The young Swede, just 19 years old, arrived at the club this summer, sparking immense excitement among the fans. His talent was revealed in pre-season matches: audacity, speed, dribbling, and a personality that promises magical nights at Camp Nou. But the reality of financial fair play has halted his breakthrough. Barça can't register him in La Liga, and the alternatives are limited. The possibility of giving him a license with the reserve team was considered, but even this path is blocked by economic limits. The result is frustrating, a player ready to debut, but blocked by regulations. Faced with this scenario, a transfer appears as the most realistic option, and that's where the name of his former club, Copenhagen, resurfaces. Barty's relationship with the Danish club is close. He made his debut there at just 16, played over 80 games, and left an indelible mark with 15 goals, including a historic one against Manchester United in Europe. Returning to Copenhagen, even temporarily, would have a double advantage. He would play in a familiar environment and could participate in the Champions League if the team qualifies for the group stage. For a player his age, minutes in European competition are worth gold. The Kuhl fans, however, are not convinced. Many believe he should stay and fight for a place in the first team. Others think it's better for him to gain experience in a competitive context and return stronger. Barty, for his part, insists that his dream is to triumph at Barça. He has repeatedly said he wants to make a career at Camp Nou, but he also understands that sometimes you have to take a step back to leap forward. The truth is that his case has become an open debate within the club. The coaches appreciate him, the management is looking for solutions, and the fans give their opinions every day on social media. It is undoubtedly one of the great dilemmas of this season, and its outcome could mark not only his future but also Barca's image in managing young talents. Robert Lewandowski, the silent captain of the Blaugrana attack, has broken his silence with a direct message. He does not accept a secondary role in this new project. The Polish striker, at 36, is starting his fourth season at Barça with the same ambition as day one. And although Flick has already told him that he plans to manage his minutes, Lewandowski has drawn a red line. Dosing does not mean staying on the bench during big matches. Since his arrival in 2022, Lewa has been much more than a center forward. With his goals, he has given Barça the ability to decide tight matches, and with his professionalism, he has earned the respect of the dressing room. The discipline in his training, his physical care, and his competitive mentality set an example for the younger players. Even those who doubted his recruitment have ended up recognizing that his leadership has been key in a team in transition. Now, with Flick on the bench, his role is once again at the center of debate. The German coach is aware that high-intensity football requires constant rotations. Ferran Torres has taken a step forward in his performances and positions himself as a real alternative in attack. Additionally, the management continues to work on strengthening the attack with names like Marcus Rashford circulating strongly in recent months. All of this forces a rethink of the offensive hierarchy, but Lewandowski does not want to hear about taking a step back. His message has been clear: he will rest when necessary, but during big European nights and key Liga matches, he must be on the pitch. He does not see it as a personal matter, but as a responsibility to the team. For him, leading with goals and presence in important moments is part of his identity. And Flick knows it. Managing a veteran with so much weight is not just a tactical challenge, it is also a dressing room issue, as Lewa's influence extends beyond the sporting realm. Lamine Yamal, GAVI, Barça, and other young players look up to him as a role model. His daily consistency and work ethic are contagious for the group. Removing him too soon from the spotlight could be counterproductive, but at the same time, giving him an absolute role could limit the opportunities of those pushing for their place. The Barça attack is experiencing, for the first time in a long time, an excess of talent, and this abundance forces Flick to make decisions that satisfy everyone. Lewandowski himself has recalled that in the past, other coaches have managed him intelligently. At Bayern, for example, he would rest during less demanding matches but was always present for the big occasions. Flick, who knows him well from that time, will try to apply a similar plan: dose the minutes without undermining his role as a reference. Balance will be key. If the Pole feels sidelined, his leadership could fade. If he maintains a privileged position, the young players might see their development limited. The dilemma is set. Can a team seeking rebirth afford to do without the experience of its top scorer? Or is it more important to bet now on a transition to new offensive figures? The answer will shape much of the season. While the attack debates its hierarchy, in defense, there is a man who has gone from being criticized to indispensable: Ronald Araujo. The Uruguayan defender was facing a summer full of uncertainties. Competition in central defense had relegated him to a secondary role, and rumors of a possible departure were relentless. But everything changed with Inigo Martinez's departure to Al Nassr. This exit completely reorganized Flick's plans. The German coach did not hesitate. Araujo had to be the defensive pillar of the new Barça. His physical power, speed in duels, and strength in one-on-one confrontations are qualities that no other defender on the team can offer with the same impact. But Flick does not want to limit him to being just a hard-hitting defender. His plan is to transform him into a complete central defender, capable of dominating both in defense and in building play. To achieve this, the technical staff has designed a specific training program. The goal: to improve his decision-making under pressure, gain confidence in short and medium passes, and become a reliable piece in ball circulation. Flick understands that Barca's style demands that central defenders do more than just defend. They must also initiate actions. In this regard, Araujo must take a step forward. The Uruguayan knows this and has responded with hard work. Every session is focused on perfecting details: coordination with fullbacks, complicity with the goalkeeper, and synchronization with Cubarsi. The idea is for the two to form a balanced duo. Araujo's experience and physicality, combined with the clean ball-playing and composure of the young LAMINE graduate. A tandem that, if it works, could define an era at Camp Nou. Araujo's change in role is noticeable not only on the field but also in the dressing room. Flick considers him a natural leader, someone capable of transmitting energy and character to his teammates. Even without wearing the armband, his voice matters. His competitiveness, commitment, and love for the club make him a reference, and this influence is as important as his footballing qualities. The fans, who at one point doubted his continuity, now see him as an irreplaceable piece. His performances in the early matches of the season confirm that he is ready to take on this role. And what was uncertainty a few months ago is now enthusiasm. Barça has in Araujo a central defender for the present and the future, but none of this comes without effort. Flick has been clear: he will demand the maximum. He wants Araujo to accelerate his evolution, to be quicker in his decisions, not to limit himself to clearing the ball, and to actively participate in playing out from the back. The challenge is huge, but if he overcomes it, the Uruguayan can become one of the best central defenders in the world. The contrast between Lewandowski's case and Araujo's reflects the complexity of this Barça. On one side, a veteran fighting not to lose his prominence. On the other, a young player seeking to establish himself as a leader. 2 generations, 2 realities, and one common goal: to return the team to its rightful place. In this context, Flick's role is decisive. He must manage egos, distribute minutes, promote talent, and maintain harmony in a dressing room that blends experience and youth. Each of his decisions has a direct impact on the performance and morale of the group. And what we have seen so far indicates that he does not hesitate to take bold measures. The immediate future of Barça depends on resolving these dilemmas. Will Lewandowski be able to maintain his place without stifling the young players? Will Araujo manage to make the leap that transforms him into a complete central defender? Will Flick succeed in balancing all these pieces into a coherent project? The answers will come with time, but one thing is certain: the season promises strong emotions. Fermin Lopez, the young player who went from promise to reality in just a few months, has become the epicenter of an operation that could reshape European football. His name is highlighted in red in Pep Guardiola's notebook. Manchester City, after a season where they felt a lack of spark in midfield at times, is searching for a midfielder with endless energy, box-to-box presence, and competitive hunger, and all roads lead to Fermin. This isn't a passing trend or a summer rumor. It's a footballing analysis that fits two perfectly. In a team that thrives on quick circulation, high pressing, and aggressive counter-pressing after losing the ball, a midfielder with a powerful stride, personality, and a goal-scoring instinct is priceless. That's why, from England, they have seriously explored his situation and hinted that, if necessary, they will break the bank. Barça, for its part, is under no illusions. They know Fermin represents far more than just an asset with market value. He is a symbol of the new generation, proof that LAMINE still produces competitive talent for the biggest stages. Moreover, within Flick's ecosystem, his role goes beyond being a mere impact sub. The coach values his ability to evade pressure, his aggression in breaking lines, and his almost instinctive knack for arriving at the far post in the box. When the team attacks in a 4-3-3 or an asymmetric 4-2-3-1, Fermin excels at timing his runs from deep, coordinating with the winger who pins the defense wide and the fullback who stretches the play. It's a game of details that, in tight matches, can be the difference between points. The board has already rejected offers close to €80 million, But now, with a potential bid exceeding €90 million on the table, the debate shifts from romanticism to strategy. The club is walking a financial tightrope with financial fair play. Every step must be calculated. A sale of this magnitude would ease tensions, provide registration flexibility, unlock stalled operations, and, above all, create room to secure structural pieces. But the sporting cost is clear. What's the point of balancing the books if it weakens the midfield by losing a rare profile? Flick has been clear in private. Whether Fermin stays or goes, there's a plan for both scenarios. With Fermin in the squad, the idea is to solidify him as a high-energy midfielder who can rotate with PEDRI and GAVI while also playing as an aggressive playmaker behind the striker in high-pressing systems. With Dani Olmo, there are interesting synergies. Olmo can play inverted on the left, drawing markers between the lines and freeing up space for Fermin's late runs from the weak side. When the opposition clogs the center, the team uses the flank with Bald, pins the opposing fullback, and Fermin's diagonal run into the penalty area becomes a repeatable pattern. It's not just about running, it's about reading the exact moment when the defensive line wavers and leaves a gap. If City pushes hard, Barça will manage two scenarios. In the first, total retention, a staggered salary increase, contract extension, and a clear message about the project. Keeping Fermin isn't just an act of faith, it's a statement to the dressing room. Minutes are earned, and the club rewards those who make an impact. In the second scenario, if the offer is irresistible, the board will want the funds to address multiple needs, strengthening the pivot if injuries strike, accelerating pending registrations like Ronnie Bargi's, and reserving flexibility for a market opportunity in attack. This spreadsheet includes terms like amortization, gross salaries, and league rules, cold numbers with very human consequences on the pitch. Meanwhile, Fermin keeps a cool head. He doesn't get distracted, trains hard, plays, and avoids getting caught up in headlines. Those who know him emphasize his ambitious nature, but with a touch of serenity that keeps him focused on what matters. He knows that succeeding at Barça isn't just about talent. It's about handling daily pressure, surviving rotation, and turning the 25 minutes the coach gives him into 25 minutes that change a game. In Flick's eyes, his value isn't measured by his percentage of starts, but by his real impact in big matches. On this chessboard, every piece affects the others. If Fermin stays, competition in the engine room will be fierce, with ripple effects. It pushes Lewandowski to maintain high intensity to receive better service. It urges PEDRI to speed up his play in the final third. It demands GAVI balance his pressing without disrupting the structure, and it gives Olmo the chance to link play between the lines. If a sale happens, the club gains breathing room to resolve Bargi's situation, finalize Eric Garcia's renewal with Blaugrana, and address less glamorous but essential details, from bonuses to contractual adjustments that prevent January surprises. Bargi's case mirrors this perfectly. If Barça frees up salary space in time, they can register a winger who offers something different. Tight dribbling, a change of pace, and a dash of audacity that's missing when matches get bogged down, especially with YAMAL growing with each game. Having a natural alternative on the right flank, rather than relying on a converted midfielder, is competitive hygiene. If there's no room, a short-term loan with a buyback clause in winter could prevent him from stagnating. Curiously, a decision on Fermin could indirectly influence Bargi's future. Modern football can't be understood without this interplay between the pitch and the spreadsheet. Nor should we overlook the impact on defense. Araujo and Cubarsi are settling as a duo, Eric's stock is rising, and Count remains a luxury wild card. When the defensive structure stabilizes, the midfield takes more risks. It's a chain of trust. If the back line commands, the front line is freed. Flick wants a team that plays 10 meters higher, smothers the opposition's build-up, and turns every turnover into a scoring chance. For that, profiles like Fermin are pure oxygen. They arrive, shoot, and, most importantly, instantly shut down the opposition's transition. Pep Guardiola is a manager who has always known how to spot the details that make a difference on the pitch. He doesn't settle for appearances or passing trends. When he takes an interest in a player like Fermin Lopez, it's because he sees something specific in him, a midfielder capable of giving everything, breaking opposition lines, scoring goals, and bringing that energy that can turn a game. Manchester City, under his leadership, never does things half-heartedly. If the club is willing to put a huge sum on the table, it's because they've studied the case from every angle. They don't just want to buy a player to leave him on the bench. No, if they sign him, it will be to play him to make a difference. For Barça, the reflection must be just as meticulous. It's not just about money or talent, it's about balance. If Fermin stays, what does he bring to the team? Fresh energy, a symbol for LAMINE's young players, and a player who fully understands the club's philosophy. But if Fermin leaves, what does Barça lose? A rare profile, difficult to replace, especially in the current financial climate. And then there's the money. A sale for over €90 million can solve a lot of problems. It can allow the club to register players, pay off debts, and strengthen other positions. But is it worth sacrificing such an important player? Can Barça afford to sell a homegrown talent like Fermin, who represents the future? There's also the message it sends. If Barça sells Fermin just as he's breaking through, what does that say to the young players at LAMINE? Does it mean that as soon as a player becomes too good, he's sold to the highest bidder? Or does it show that the club is willing to do whatever it takes to stay competitive, even if it means making tough choices? The fans are divided. Some don't even want to hear about a sale. For them, Fermin is the soul of Barça, a homegrown player who must stay. Others, more pragmatic, know that sometimes, to build something solid, sacrifices have to be made. But what everyone agrees on is that Barça now has clearer leadership than it did a few months ago. Decisions like extending Eric Garcia's contract, the plan to develop Araujo, and the transparent management of Lewandowski show that the club is trying to build something coherent. In the short term, the question is simple, but the answer isn't easy. Does Fermin stay as a symbol of the sporting project, or does he become the key to solving the club's financial problems? No matter the decision, one thing is certain. It will have to be fully committed to. If Fermin stays, it will be to play, to grow, and to make a difference. If he leaves, the money will have to be reinvested wisely so the team emerges stronger. Because, in the end, what will matter isn't the headlines in August, but what happens on the pitch throughout the season. And there, Flick's Barça seems determined to show that they don't just talk, they act. Actions will speak louder than words.